First breath I took, a life too surreal. Second breath I took was the pivot and strike, finish the kill. Influenced by might, with every sentence reveal. I won't pay back, fuck the dollar bill. Remain calm as the pressure build. Gotta endure until I let this pump whistle at my foes in memory of Emmett Till. I only live to do my master's will. Isupk, motherfucker. Ain't no cowards on this battlefield. Gone straight but made greater. In my return, left to my mistakes. Every error was a lesson learned. Now I don't move, let's it get approved. Won't take a step till it get confirmed. Armed and tape, it was made for our sakes. March like a tank. One step will make the ground shake. My people sick in their head, Lord, let this truth spread like an outbreak and bring hell at the crackers can't escape. Nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. I won't pay back for the scars in the slave memoirs. Till Christ arrive, I can't let it slide. Ignore the lies, the only free will that's before your eyes. It's life or death, nigga, you decide. This heaven was made for me and my fellow. I patiently wait with my eyes on the sparrow, and I pull the trigger while my lips kiss the barrel. Before I ever let a white bitch do me like Othello. I want out this wicked life like Ramello. By any means, this devil pulling strings like Geppetto. Lay hold on this brotherhood. I swear I never let go. And fuck that silver spoon. Got too much love for the ghetto. Till the score settle with me, I die for the cause. Just to hear them angels of blood. And I'm true by every word I say. Cause I know my victory on the way. Opponent, nigga, walk this way. This life may be hard, but I can't give up. On my nigga hard, and I won't give up. And could you tell me about this God that you feel so much? And why you look so tough? It's real, I be walking with the angels. Boy, I like it. It's hard, but I can't give up. On my nigga hard, and I won't give up. Could you tell me about this God that you feel so much? And why you look so tough? It's real, I be walking with the angels. Boy, I can't be touched. Can't do it in clutch. They hate when they can't doubt us. We princes of the power, what you know about us? Evil all around us. But a nigga straight, I told you I can't be touched. Only angels walk at my pace. I'm grateful for the words that had me delivered. I'm hungry for the glory, but I ain't done it till I feed my next. One West, what I die for. Attire out the book of numbers, this rifle from the Archangel Michael. My niggas rebels, you can't deny them. It's one for the flow. I be running to and fro with the Allah higher. My UPK soldiers ain't no folding, no pretending. We in it for the crowns, fuck friends, we want the million. In the election season, I hope I make it through. Give a damn what a bitch think, as long as my niggas know I'm true. The stranger kind to get success. You make it through the eye of the steel, nigga. I'll be as life may be hard, but I can't give up. On my nigga hard, and I won't give up. And could you tell me about this God that you feel so much? And why you look so tough? It's real, I be walking with them angels. Boy, I like it. It's hard, but I can't give up. On my nigga hard, and I won't give up. Could you tell me about this God that you feel so much? And why you look so tough? It's real, I be walking with them angels. Boy, I can't be touched. All right, shalom, Yahweh Shemi Hawashai brought the thumb to the brothers.
Yahweh Shemal Alathan Bahashim Yahweh Shai to the sisters. Isupk, Florida. Started out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. We are under commanding General Yohana. Since 1969, we've been teaching that Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians are the true biblical Israelites of the Bible. Okay. I'm Officer Nashak down here in Florida, Riviera Beach, 1628 Riviera Beach. Okay. I'm going to be holding down the helm tonight during the Brotherhood class. Okay. So if you got anything on Brotherhood, go ahead and type in your questions. I'll try to answer them the best I can. If I can't, I'll go ahead and get, the answer for you. Okay. So, with that, like I said, you got any questions, go ahead and type them in. Okay. I got KJ the designer. Shalom Yahweh Shemal Athab Hashem Yahweh Shai. Officer Isupk. Shalom Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai Barakatah. Courtney. Shalom Yahweh Shemal Athab Hashem Yahweh Shai to you. Okay. Magal. Shalom Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai Barakatah. Okay. You got any questions? Go ahead and type them in, and we'll try to get them answered. Okay. So, like I said, since 1969, the Israelite School of Universal and Practical Knowledge has been teaching Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians that they are God's chosen people. Okay. And everything about the Bible is basically to teach us how to deal with one another. Okay. The Bible is a manual that shows Black, Hispanics, and Native Indians how they should live. Okay. What laws they should abide by. Okay. Basically, if you break it down, the Bible is trying to show Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians how to dwell together. Okay. How we should treat one another, which is very important. Okay. Because today, in today's environment and society, it's all about I. Everything that you're taught since you were a little baby and brought up, it's all about yourself, I. If you are Black, Hispanic, or Native Indian, you are required to think differently. Okay? You should be brought up and taught how to think about us, okay? As a nation, as a people, okay? Especially nowadays, because everything, we're so downtrodden. We're so, what I mean? We're so in such a bad position to where it's so easy to it's easier to care about yourself than to care about everybody, or more than, yourself. It's easy because it's so hard. This life, they've made it so hard for us it's easier to just only worry about yourself. But in reality, if you actually cared about someone other than yourself, and it was reciprocated by your people, your brothers and sisters, that would be easier, because you would always have somebody to look after you the way you would look after them. Okay? The way you look after yourself, you just imagine having a whole family of people that look after you the way you look after yourself. Okay? And that's what brotherhood is. Okay? That's what the Bible teaches us. The Bible teaches blacks. The Bible teaches the 12 tribes of Israel how to care about more than just themselves. And if you read, especially in the Old Testament, that's what we did. I mean, of course, sometimes we went off and we were, there were selfish brothers and sisters among us. But for the most part, we were ready to go to war at the drop of a dime for our brothers and sisters. We were ready to defend the whole nation, not just our house, not just, like the way we think today is, as long as my house is okay, as long as I got food in my refrigerator, as long as I got gas in my car, I'm good. Well, that's not good enough, okay? We have to think about more than ourselves. And it's more beneficial to you to have a bigger outlook and a bigger family than just the 2 or 3 people that dwell in your home, okay? If you got a whole nation of people that care about you and that is willing to die and fight for you, that is much better, okay? Life would be easier. Captain Shawar, y'all talk about it all the time, like what things are going to get hard, you know what I mean? In these upcoming days, it's going to get harder. Things are going to get really crazy out here. You think it's hard now, it's going to get worse. And to have brothers and sisters that are willing to die for you and live for you, it's going to make it easier for you, okay, for all of us. If we know how to treat each other and love one another genuinely, okay, genuinely care and love one another, okay? And that's what the Bible is all about. That's what the Bible teaches, okay? The Bible does not teach how to be selfish, how to only think of yourself, okay? The Bible teaches how to love a whole nation of people, how to dwell together, how we should treat one another, okay? And what we call that brotherhood in the Israelite School of Universal and Practical Knowledge, okay? Loving someone other than yourself, okay? We call that brotherhood and sisterhood. When I say brotherhood, I'm basically, saying brothers and sisters, okay? All right, so no questions. I'll go ahead and read, pull some scriptures, okay? And we'll get into this brotherhood. Let's see what we got. Okay. Let's go into the Apocrypha, okay? Ecclesiasticus, chapter 29. See what that says. We'll get my spectacles. Okay. Ecclesiasticus chapter 29 and verse 10. Let's start at verse 9. Okay, Ecclesiasticus chapter 29 and verse 9. And it says, help the poor for the commandment's sake. Okay, for what the Most High God of the universe, the black God of blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, okay, he commanded us to love one another, okay? Help the poor for the commandment's sake, and turn him not away because of his poverty. That's pretty big, because the Christian church, the church is like the most horrible place on the planet. The black, Hispanic, and Native Indian church, it's just a horrible place, because in that church you're taught to look down on anybody who's having hard times in life. Okay, and when they do pretend to like care about somebody besides themselves, it has to be like this big show. You know what I mean? Like, it has, everybody in the world has to see them, like trying to so-called help somebody, a homeless person, or anybody who's having it bad. You know what I mean? Like in life, who's going through something. Like the church, they have to be seen. You know what I mean? Like, they are man pleasers. Okay, so but other than that, they're taught to look down on anybody who doesn't have a good job, who doesn't have a big house or a fancy car. To them, money is success. Okay? Okay? To the Christian church, money is, if you got money, then that's the only way that they can determine that the Lord is with you. Okay, if you have money and a big house, fancy car, alligator shoes, and all that. When Christ, the Lord was with Christ. Okay, everybody knows that. And Christ didn't have a job. Okay, his job was to teach blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians how to care for each other, how to love one another. Okay, but Christ didn't even have a place to stay. You know what I mean? He didn't have a house. He didn't have somewhere to call home. Christ went from place to place. He just walked from place to place. And you know what I mean? Like, he would crash at whoever house, whoever, would take him in. Him and his, him and his brothers, you know what I'm saying? So like, the Christian church is horrible. It's just a horrible place to grow up and to be in the Christian church. It's just horrible. Okay, it's the worst thing on the planet. So if you are in the church, run out of there immediately. Get the heck out of there. Okay, and just come to these classes. Start coming to these classes, and we'll definitely show you how to serve the Lord the way he intended for us to love him. Okay. Okay. Ecclesiasticus chapter 29 and verse 10. Loose the money for thy brother and for thy friend, and let it not rust under a stone to be lost. Okay. So, you know what I mean? You got a couple of extra dollars or whatever, you're supposed to help your brother. You know what I mean? Don't hold on to it, because you know what I mean? Like, the Lord will give it back to you. Okay. The Lord will repay you. You know what I mean? What you do, whatever you do to serve another brother and sister, the Lord will pay you back. You don't have to, you know what I mean? Like, hold on to that, you know what I mean, that dollar, and you know what I mean, think that, well, I only got this, I only got that, I can't help nobody else. Yes, you can. You can help your brothers and sisters because the Lord will repay you, okay? Let's see if we can get that. That's a good precept to what I'm saying right now, that the Lord he will repay you, okay? Whatever you do, whatever you do for brothers and sisters, the Lord will repay you, okay? Let's go to, let me see what, 1 Timothy, the book of 1 Timothy chapter 6. See what that's saying, got going on. 1 Timothy chapter 6, verse 17. Okay, this is a pretty good one. Okay. Okay, Bruno, Shalom, Yahweh, Shema, Alatha, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai. Okay, Trooper Halak, Shalom, Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Barakatah. Y'all got any questions on the Brotherhood or any questions in general? Go ahead and type them in, okay? And we'll, try to get them answered for you. Okay, but I'm going to go to the book of 1 Timothy, chapter 6, and we're going to start at verse 17. Okay, and basically this is talking about how to help brothers and sisters. Okay, we have a responsibility to help one another. Okay, according to the scriptures, according to the commandments of the Most High God, we are to help one another. Okay, and that's what, like, when I read these scriptures, this is basically telling us how to treat one another, how we're supposed to help one another. Okay. Okay. I got something here. When God killed King David's baby, was that the punishment of David? Isn't that holding someone accountable for someone else's sin? No, because if I'm not correct, if you can give me the scripture, okay. I'm tuning in from Orlando, Florida. Okay, Most High in Christ. Okay, but if you can give me the scripture, okay, King David, he sinned against the Most High. Okay, he slept with another brother's wife. Okay, and you can't sin against the Most High and not think, you're gonna get a judgment for it. Okay, that's something else, that is pushed and taught in this society, in the Christian church, that, like God is all love. God is not all love. Okay, God has emotions just like you do. Okay, he's a jealous God. Okay, he hates, he loves, all that. Okay, but King David, he sinned against the Most High. Okay, so if you know the scripture, go ahead and type it in and I'll go to it. Okay, but yeah, David, he did something against, the Most High that made him, okay, I see what you're saying. You're saying the baby died, and instead of King David dying, the baby died. Look, the Lord, he does things the way he wants to do it, okay? His thoughts are not our thoughts, okay? So yeah, sometimes, it can look like somebody else is suffering, for somebody else's sin, but the Lord works, the way he wants to work, okay? But yeah, he killed that baby, had to die, okay, for King David. The Lord had something for him to do. He still had work to do. So the Lord punished him by taking away his child, okay? So yes, in the New Testament, okay, when the disciples was with Christ, they asked him, who did sin? Okay, him, the blind man, who did sin? Him or his parents? Okay, so we can't say how the Lord operates or what he will do. Okay, that's up to him to how he's going to let things play out and make things happen in the earth. Okay, will we okay, I see you got a couple of scriptures up here. Okay, the son shall not pay for the sins of the father. That's true. That's true. But you know what I mean? Like, you can't, who's to say, you know what I mean? Like, what that child, you know what I mean? Like, the Lord is going to do things the way he want to do things. Okay. You know what I mean? Like, you can't look at it like, because you can't look at it like that child is paying for David's sin. Okay, who's to say, you know what I mean? Like, the Lord gives everybody a time on this earth. Every soul has a time and a purpose. Okay, so who's to say that that child, his only purpose in that life was to come and have the Lord take him away from his father, just so his father can learn a lesson, okay? Just so he can, you know what I mean? Just so the father can be chastised by the Most High, okay? So you can't look at it like everybody has the right to live, a right to a ripe old age. That's not true. The Lord never said that about anybody, okay? He never said that everybody is going to live, a certain amount of days, and that's going to be that. You know what I mean? No. You could be put on this earth and taken away when the Lord wants that to happen, okay? So in everything happens because of what the Lord wants, okay? So we can go to 2 Samuel chapter 12 and verse 14. And we'll see what 2 Samuel 12 and 14. Yeah, let's start at verse 11. 2 Samuel chapter 12 and verse 11. Thus saith the Most High, behold, I will raise up evil against thee out of thine own house, and I will take thy wives before thine eyes, and give them unto thy neighbor, and he shall lie with thy wives in the sight of the sun. Okay, so the Lord is punishing this brother right now. He's letting him know he's going to punish him. Okay, like when you go against the God of blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, it's not going to be like all cakes and bubbles. Okay, there's going to be a punishment for it. Okay, let me wherefore. Let's go up to, we have to get the background of the story. Go to verse 1. 2 Samuel chapter 12 and verse 1. And the Lord sent Nathanael unto David, and he came unto him and said unto him, there were two men in one city, the one rich and the other poor. The rich man had exceeding many flocks and herds, but the poor man had nothing, save one little. Okay, yeah, because this is talking about how David did that brother. Okay, that brother had one wife. He had one wife, and he loved that his wife. But David had all kinds of, you know what I mean? Like he had concubines and everything, but he still wanted to take that one brother's wife. And this Nathaniel's giving him like an analogy of what happened, or you know what I mean, how he's seeing how David was. Okay, what David did. Okay, David took this brother's, he had one wife, and he's a king. Okay, so this is, you know, the brother Nathaniel's coming to David, and he's like, look, check this story out. What do you think about this? Okay, I'm gonna read it, but he's like, this, what you think about a person is like this. Okay, so in this analogy, David is the rich man. Okay, keep that in mind. Okay, verse 1. And the Lord sent Nathanael unto David, and he came unto him and said unto him, there were two men in one city, the one rich and the other poor. The rich man had exceedingly many flocks and herds, but the poor man had nothing, save one little ewe lamb. Okay, he saved means, you know what I mean? Like it's like but, you know, but or only. Okay, like just one, just this, you know what I mean? Like save is you. Okay, something like, you know, save is like one or you. Okay, but the poor man had nothing but save one, but only one little ewe lamb, which he had bought and nourished up, and it grew up together with him. Okay, so he raised this lamb up. He loved this lamb. They love each other. You know what I'm saying? Just like a man does when he get a wife. You know what I mean? You get your wife, y'all grow together. Okay, you know what I mean? You get to know each other. You know what I'm saying? You become one, like spiritually, mentally. Okay, I'm gonna keep reading. And it grew up together with him and with his children. It was part of the family. It did eat its own meat and drank his own cup and lay in his bosom and was unto him as a daughter. And there came a traveler unto the rich man, and he spared to take his own flock and of his own herd to dress for the wayfaring man that was come unto him. Okay, but took the poor man's lamb and dressed it for the man that was come to him. So verse 4 right here, verse 4 right here is pretty good because it describes brotherhood. It starts out describing brotherhood in a good way, but then it goes bad. But you know what I mean? Like as I'm reading and I'm thinking, okay, that's brotherhood. Some, a stranger, a traveler comes, which is like what we do in this school. Like if somebody in this school comes into Florida from any other state, somebody in this school is going to give him a place to stay. Somebody is going to, you know what I mean? Like take care of that brother, feed him, you know what I mean? Like and treat him like family. Okay. But right here it's saying the rich man, when this traveler came, he had all these flocks. He had all these lambs and goats and everything. But he took the poor man's one sheep. Okay. He took his one lamb and slaughtered it and dressed it up and cooked it and served it to the traveler instead of, you know what I mean, taking something from his flock. Okay. And this is the analogy that the brother's given David for what he did by taking that other brother's one wife. Okay. Verse 5. And David's anger was greatly kindled against the man. Like, see, now David understands what this brother's saying to him. He's like, you charging me. You know what I mean? Like, you exposing me. You know what I mean? What I did was wrong. He know what he did was wrong. You know what I'm saying? He took that brother's wife. And that's, you know what I mean? Like, that's unbrotherly. Okay? That's very unbrotherly. That's, man, I can't even explain how horrible that is. Okay? It didn't even have to be his wife. It could be anything. You know what I mean? Like you take something from a brother or sister, that's hard. That's a horrible thing, man. I mean, when you know what I mean, like you don't, like the scriptures say, you know what I mean, treat them how you want to be treated. Okay. So right here it says, and David's anger was greatly kindled against the man. And he said to Nathaniel, see, David, he don't even really know, Salaki, he don't know that Nathaniel's talking about him. He's listening to Nathaniel tell him the story, and he's mad at the rich man for doing this to the poor man. Okay? Right now, David, Salaki, he don't even know that Nathaniel's talking about him. So he's hearing the story, and he's like, what? This great rich man did that? Oh, that's a, you know what I mean, a fake nigga, a fake brother. You know what I mean? He's mad at this rich man for what he did to the poor man. Okay. And it says, and David's anger was greatly kindled against the man. And he said to Nathaniel, as the Lord liveth, the man that hath done this thing shall surely die. Okay. David saying any man that takes something like that treats a rich man to a poor man like that, he's got death, coming to him. Okay. Verse 6. And he shall restore the lamb fourfold because he did this thing and because he had no pity. Okay. Verse 7. And Nathaniel said to David, thou art the man. Okay. Like that, you know what I mean? Like, what David did was horrible. And now Nathaniel's showing him what he did was horrible. Okay. If you was in class last night, I mean, we was kind of hitting on something, this same, we was kind of hitting on this subject when, the Lord, we were saying that we should forgive our brothers, you know what I mean, for their sin. And you know what I mean? Like, because any time, you know what I mean, it could be you that, make a mistake or do something dumb, and you're going to want somebody to forgive you for what you've done wrong. Okay. Verse 7. And Nathaniel said to David, thou art the man. Thus said the Most High God of Israel, I anointed thee king over Israel, and I delivered thee out of the hands of Saul. Okay. Because Saul wanted to kill David. Okay. David came up. I mean, David, before he became king, he was just a herdsman. He tended his father's sheep and lamb and stuff, okay? So the Lord raised up David, and he came, he was a warrior for sure, but, like, you know what I mean? Like, he came up from nothing, and the Lord anointed him, you know what I'm saying? For him to get to the top or to be king over Israel and do such a foul thing to, one of his little ones. Okay, Christ said, you hurt one of the least of my sheep, you have done it to me, okay? And that's how the Most High feels, okay? The Lord feels the power that we serve. You hurt one of the least of his flock, and you know what I mean? You did it to him. That's not brotherhood, okay? Just because you rich don't mean you can, you know what I mean, like, do whatever you want to do to a poor man, okay? If you set over Israel, you're supposed to serve, you know what I mean, the men that are under you, not abuse them, okay? Verse 8, and I gave thee masters of house, and thy masters' wives into thy bosom, and gave thee the house of Israel and of Judah. And if that had been too little, I would moreover have given unto thee such and such things. Like the Lord saying, I'd have given you whatever you wanted. You know what I mean? Because the Lord was rolling with David at one time. You know what I'm saying? David was a warrior for the Most High. Okay. And right here it's saying the Lord would have, you know what I mean? Like the Lord's telling him, look, I gave you whatever you wanted. You didn't have to take something, you know what I mean, from the poor man. You could have had whatever you wanted, but instead you wanted something you wasn't supposed to have. Okay? Verse 9. Wherefore hast thou despised the commandment of the Most High to do evil in his sight? Thou hast killed Uriah the Hittite with the sword, and hast taken his wife to be thy wife, and hast slain him with the sword of the children of Ammon. Okay, so David sent that brother out to war and knew he was going to die. He put him on the front line. Okay, when we were at war with the nation of Ammon. Okay, just so he can have this brother's wife. How evil can you be? You know what I'm saying? Verse 10. Now therefore the sword shall never depart from thine house, because thou hast despised me, and hast taken the wife of Uriah the Hittite to be thy wife. Thus saith the Most High, behold, I will raise up evil against thee out of thine own house. So the Lord's telling them, you know what I mean? Like, that's what I was saying earlier. We can't say how the Lord is going to do, how he's going to work, okay? Okay? That the Lord could have let that baby be brought in the world just to take him. That was that child's purpose, okay? So it had, you know what I mean? Like, don't think like, you know what I mean? Like everybody has their own life or their own, you know what I mean, destiny. The Lord has your destiny, okay? The Lord determines what your life is going to be and, you know, when it's going to end, not you. The only thing you can choose is to serve the Lord or not to serve the Lord, okay? That's all you can do. Okay, verse 11. Thus saith the Most High, behold, I will raise up evil against thee out of thine own house, and I will take thy wives before thine eyes. So this brother had wives, okay, not just one. David had plenty of wives, and this brother only had one. And give them unto thy neighbor, okay? Just like he did. He took that brother's wife, and he shall lie with thy wives in the sight of the sun, okay? Like basically everybody's gonna know, okay? Everybody's gonna know it. Everybody's gonna see it, okay? For thou didst it secretly. This is talking about David, what he did. Like he tried to hide the fact that he slept with that brother's wife, she found out she's pregnant, you know what I mean? And David tried to make the brother come and sleep with her. Man, David, he went off big time, you know what I mean? He went off big time. He tried to make the brother come back from war and sleep with the wife after he slept with her so he could think he was the baby daddy. The brother didn't sleep with his wife because he was like, nigga, I'm a warrior. If we at war, I'm going to sleep out here in the streets. I'm ready for war. He didn't even go and lay with his wife. So David was like, oh, crap, what am I going to do now? The wife going to end up pregnant, and this brother going to know it wasn't his, and I'm going to be found out. So now David sent the brother out to war, okay, put him on the front line. The brother died, and now he take the brother wife, you know what I mean, to be his own, when he already had wives, okay? Verse 12, for thou didst it secretly, but I will do this before all Israel, okay? So don't think what you do in behind closed doors, okay, in the closet. Don't think just because you come in, you know, you come around brothers and sisters and Yahweh Shem Yahushai Brakatah and, you know, Yahweh Shemal Thun by Shem Yahushai, and then you go home and you're doing some wicked nastiness that it's not going to be found out. This scripture right here is telling you it's going to be found out, okay? And the Lord is going to let everybody know, you know, it's going to be brought out, okay? And he might take your child from you, okay? Verse 12, for thou did it secretly, but I will do this before all Israel and before the sun, okay? And David said unto Nathan, I have sinned against the Lord. And Nathan said unto David, the Lord also hath put away thy sin. Thou shalt not die. Howbeit, because by this deed thou hast given great occasion to the enemies of the Lord to blaspheme. The child that also that is born unto thee shall surely die. Okay? So that verse 14 right there, that's heavy, because it's saying, like, we say all the time in the school, like, we represent the school. Okay, so when you're out and you're doing stuff, okay, you don't want to be doing something that's going to bring shame to the Most High. Because if you do, now the Christian church, the fake Israelite groups, everybody going to be able to say that the Lord, you know what I mean, they're going to be able to blaspheme against the Lord and say, you know what I mean, the Lord, they're not serving the Lord is this or the Lord is that. They don't have the Lord with them, okay? And the Lord's saying, you know what I mean, like, you do that, you're going to have a punishment coming, okay? You don't behave in a way where it's going to make people be like, nah, you know, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to serve that God, okay? Because in here, like, we serve the Most High exactly the way he said we're supposed to serve him, okay? That's why we call it the truth, okay? And if you do something in here that's going to make somebody look at the school and be like, nah, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to get in that school because I seen somebody in that school, you know what I mean, at the strip club. They go to the strip club. Nah, that's not, you know what I mean? When we don't do that, but you did that, and now it looks like the Lord, you know what I mean, ain't with us. So, you know what I mean? Like, that's, you know, kind of what verse 14 right there is saying, okay? Like, you do something that goes against the Most High. The Most High made David the king, okay? How you going to be the king and do something wicked? Now, everybody's looking at it like, well, is this what we're supposed to do? Is this how we're supposed to roll? You know, is this okay? Is the Lord, you know what I mean? Like, no, Negro, okay? You do something, you've been put in a position to serve, or, you know what I mean, to serve God's children, and you showing them something evil, like, the Lord is going to deal with you, okay? Now everybody can be like, well, nah, if that's what the Lord, you know what I mean, having brothers and sisters do, I don't believe in that God, or I'm not serving that God. You know what I'm saying? When he went off against the Lord, okay? The Lord didn't, he made a choice on his own, okay? Not to serve the Lord the way he was supposed to, okay? And that's why, look, the Lord came to Nathaniel and let him know what to go tell David, okay? The Lord put his words in his mouth and let David know, you're not going to die, but your child is surely going to die, okay? This is how the Lord is going to deal with you, okay? Like when you're saying, okay, I see what you're saying. You're saying like the child should not bear the father's burden, okay? Which is true, but okay, let me see if I can try to break it down to you. Let me think of an example. Okay, like if you smoke cigarettes, okay, that's going against the Most High. You're not supposed to have no fire at your lips. Your child is not going to get cancer because you smoke cigarettes. You're going to get cancer and die from smoking cigarettes, okay? The child is not going to, you know what I mean, like die because you did something against the Most High. But in this case, for sure, that's what the Lord did, okay? In this case, that is what the Lord did. So, you know what I mean? Like the way the Lord does things and the way he determines things is going to happen is that's just the way it's going to go. Okay. I can't sit here and say that the Lord, you know what I mean, won't kill one of my children to punish me. Okay. To show me something. Now that child is not dying because of something I did. The Lord just chose to do it that way. It was already, you know what I mean? He was already, you know, that child was brought into this earth for that thing to happen. Okay, that's what he was brought in this earth for. Just like Christ said with the blind man, when they asked him who did sin. Okay, Christ, they said, who sinned, him or his parents? And Christ said, neither. He was born blind just so the Lord can get the glory. So I can do this miracle and everybody can see that the Lord is, you know, all merciful. Okay, so at the same time, the Lord had to do something to let everybody see what David did was evil and he would get punished for it. Okay, he didn't kill him, but he took away his child. Okay, so don't think of it as, you know, you do something wrong, now your child's gonna die. No, that's not all, you know what I mean? That's not what it is, okay? The Lord determines who dies and who lives, okay? And he let this child be born. He let this whole thing play out just so he can take it from David, okay? So that's, you know what I mean? That's what that is. That's not this child dying for the sin of his father, okay? Okay, verse 14. We just read verse 14. So that's definitely that's not the child dying because of what David, you know what I mean, the sins of the father. That's just how the Lord, you know what I mean, wanted to show David. He wanted to show everybody. He punished David openly, okay? And that's why he let that child be brought into the earth, okay, to let that thing happen. But it's not the same as like if you do something wrong, you know, don't think of it like that. Like you do a sin and then the Lord is going to kill your children. I mean, it could happen that way, you know what I mean? But don't think like, you know, don't think that, you know, that's what it is. because it's not. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so I see you also got Deuteronomy chapter 24 and verse 16. You have a question on that, or is that a precept to 2 Samuel? Miguel, what is Deuteronomy 24 and 16 about? Okay, so let me know what Deuteronomy 24 and 16, what you want a breakdown of that, or is that supposed to be a precept? All right, so I'm going to go ahead and go back to Brotherhood, okay? Okay, so we're going to get back into Brotherhood. I'm going to, let's go to, First John, the book of First John. Chapter 3. Okay. Basically, okay, we listen, Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, we need to love each other. Okay. And we can't do that if we're only thinking of ourselves. I know and trust me, believe me, growing up in this society, it's rough to be taught your whole life to take care of yourself and make sure you're good and your children and your mama and your not so much your pops. We don't, we're not taught to really care about our pops too much, but but to only like think about your immediate household. Okay, we have to get out of that mindset and that mind frame of only thinking about our immediate household and start thinking about other brothers and sisters. Because we're a family. We're one big extended family, okay? And you trying to, they got us thinking small, basically, okay? They got us thinking very small. They got us thinking, a house, a car, food, you know, a picket fence, green grass, you're good to go. When we should be thinking, and it's hard to like think that way because of the position we're in. To be at the bottom of the barrel and to try to think and visualize yourself being a ruler, it's gonna take some, you know, some work. Okay, it's gonna take like some coaching. Is, you know, still active. Okay, it's gonna take. You're gonna have to be brainwashed. Basically, you're gonna have to have your mind re-exposed to something new, a new way of thinking, a new way of existing. Okay, and the only way to make that happen is for us to care about each other, for us to love one another, for Black people to love Black people, for Hispanic people to love Hispanic people. First, we got to learn to love ourselves. Okay, Hispanic people have to learn to love Black people. Black people have to learn to love Hispanic people. Native Indians have to learn to love Hispanics and Blacks, and, you know, the whole, so on and so forth, because we are so separated and so beat up as a people. Like I just, you know, driving down through neighborhoods, and I just see my people, and it hurts me. It breaks my heart. I see brothers walking with their head down, sisters, you know, on drugs. It's, you know what I mean? Shalom, sir. How about Shemi Ashabak? Okay, so okay. Brotherhood. Yeah. Okay, so let's go to where am I at? First John chapter 3 and verse 10. Okay, we're gonna have to start learning how to love each other. We gotta have brotherhood, and brothers love each other. You know what I mean? Blacks have to learn how to love Hispanics. Hispanics have to learn how to love Blacks, and we have to come together. This is what this book is about: us loving one another. Okay, us. If it's not, if you don't have your brothers, we don't have love each other as, you know, a whole family. That's what a nation is, a family. then you know what I mean, like we're gonna stay on the bottom. We're not gonna be able to, ever get out of the situation that we're in, because we've been on this individual crap forever, and it's not helping us. Okay, it's not helping us. All it does is perpetuate this society. Okay, it keeps this society running. The way we operate as a people is why this society is so successful, off the backs of Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. Okay, we are the engine that keeps their society running, because we are on some individual type stuff. Okay, and we have to learn to love one another, our brothers. Okay, no matter if he's poor or no matter if he's rich, we need to love one another. Okay, so I'm going to go to the book of 1 John chapter 3 and verse 10. Let's start at verse 7. Little children, let no man deceive you. He that doeth righteousness is righteous, even as he is righteous. He that committeth sin is of the devil, for the devil sinneth from the beginning. For this purpose the Son of God was manifest, that he might destroy the works of the devil. Okay? Whosoever is born of God do not commit sin, for his seed remaineth in him. Okay, the seed is talking about is the seed that is talking about is the law, statutes, and commandments, basically. Okay, what the seed, the words of this book, the commandments, the laws, that seed should remain in you. Okay, and you won't commit sin. If these laws, statutes, and commandments are in your mind, in your heart, then you won't commit sin. Okay. Verse 9, for whoever is born of God do not commit sin, for the seed remaineth in him, and he cannot sin because he is born of the Most High. In this, the children of God are manifest, and the children of the devil. Whosoever doeth not righteousness is not of God, neither he that loveth not his brother. Okay, so right there, it's telling you, like, the commandment is for you to love your brother. Okay, that's what this book is about. Teaching Black people how to behave and how to treat each other. Okay, this book is all the laws, all the statutes, all the commandments, thou shalt not. At the end of the day, it's teaching you how to love your brother. Okay, you read all that, and then at the end, it's telling you that this is so you can learn how to love your brother. Okay, that's what this school teaches, and that's what Christ taught. That's what Christ pushed, is for us to love one another. Okay. Let me see. Okay, verse 11. For this is the message that ye have heard from the beginning, that we should love one another. Okay, like this is always what the Most High has been trying to show Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. You know what I mean? How to love one another, how we are supposed to treat each other. You should not be hating your brother, without a cause. Like Captain Royale was just going over this last night. You know what I mean? Like, if somebody do something to you, you're supposed to go to that person and hash it out. Let them know that like you feel a certain way, or like, or what you thought happened, and like, and if like if it doesn't work out, if the brother don't hear you, then the Lord has ways to resolve the issue. Okay, it says like you go to it's almost like you would go to court with that brother. Okay. You don't want, you know what I mean? Like, you have to have compassion and love for one another. And if something happens and you know what I mean? Like, you got an ought with a brother, you have to let him know, or you're going to be walking around with that, you know what I mean? That burden, and it's just going to fester. And now, you know what I mean? Like, the least little thing this brother say or do, you ready to snap. You know what I mean? You ready to shoot his foot off or something. You know what I mean? Like, so we have to, like, this book is teaching us and telling us that we have to have more love and compassion for one another. Okay. That's what these scriptures are about. Okay. Verse 12, not as Cain, who was of that wicked one and slew his brother. Okay. We don't want to be out here killing one another. And wherefore slew him, because his own works were evil and his brother's righteous. That's like being jealous. Okay. That's somebody being jealous, you know what I mean? And you gonna, just because somebody else is serving the Lord the way they're supposed to, and you are disgusting and evil, now you know what I mean? Like, you want to just kill the brother. Okay. And that's what Cain did. Okay. And the Lord is saying we should not be like that. Okay. Verse 13, marvel not, my brethren, if the world hates you. And that's what's going to happen when you really understand brotherhood and start loving your brothers the way the Lord intended for us to love each other. Your wife is going to be like, all you care about is them niggas over there. You know what I mean? She is going to hate you. Okay. Or for sisters that come into this truth, you know, her husband is going to hate her. You know, anybody in the world that see that you care more about somebody else than yourself, they're going to hate you. They're either going to hate you, or they might be like, okay, I'm going to follow this. Okay. But that if they're wicked, they're going to hate you. They are just going to flat out hate you. Okay. For actually caring about somebody other than yourself. Okay. Verse 14. We know that we have passed from death unto life. Okay. Because we love the brethren. He that loved not his brethren abide in death. Okay. So what's that's saying? Okay. Like, okay. Okay. So keeping the commandments is loving your brother. Okay. Basically, this scripture is saying, like, if you don't love your brother, you hate your brother, then you are breaking the commandments of the Most High God. And by breaking the commandments of the Most High God, then you abide in death. Okay. Like, you are going against the scriptures. Okay. But if you keep the commandments and love your brother, it's almost like we have to make it plain and simple. Okay. If you love your brothers, okay, basically that's protection. You got protection now. You got brothers that love you. You protect them. They protect you. You got sisters you protect. Okay. You got brothers that are protecting you. I got a whole bunch of brothers that love me. I love them. We look out for each other. Okay. Nothing can harm me. Okay. I got brothers that are willing to die for me, and I'm willing to die for them. But if I don't love no brothers, if I don't love the brethren, okay, then I'm out in this world by myself. Okay. And anything can happen. I'm not getting good counsel. I'm not getting good guidance. You know what I mean? Like, go somewhere, and now I go somewhere, I got brothers with me. Okay. 5 or 6 brothers, we roll together. But if I don't love the brethren, then I'm by myself. Okay. Basically, that's a kind of a way you can look at it and think about it. Okay. we know that we have passed from death unto life. That's keeping the commandments, okay? The Lord, the Most High said, you know what I mean? Like the scriptures, the commandments is life, okay? We pass from death unto life just by loving each other, just by, keeping the commandments, okay? Okay, I see Trooper Razan. Shalom, Yahweh Shem Yahshua Barakatah to you. Okay. Okay, verse 14. He that loveth not his brother abide in death. Okay, so brotherhood is very important. It's the cornerstone of us becoming a righteous nation again. Okay. Okay. Let me see what 13, 15. So we have to learn how to love one another. That is that's what you're going to see when you come to the Passover this next week, okay? You're going to see nothing but brothers loving each other. Okay. All right. So let's go to Matthew, the book of Matthew, chapter 25 and verse 40. 25 and 40. Okay, and this is what I brought up earlier. Okay, when I was talking about how King David took advantage of the poor, the man with one wife, okay, and he had, he already had like a whole bunch of wives, and all this brother had was one wife, okay, and then Nathaniel gave him the analogy of, the rich man and the poor man, okay. He was saying the poor man had everything. He had exceeding flocks of sheep and goats, but he took the poor man who only had one lamb. He took that brother's lamb, okay, and served it up to the traveler, okay. And I said, Christ said, you know what I mean, like, and you do something to the least of these little ones, you done it unto him. So as a brother or a sister, if you know what I mean, you do something to somebody that is down and poor, it's like you're doing it to the Lord. If you're hurting them, it's like you're hurting the Lord. If you help them, it's like you're helping the Lord, okay? So this is what I'm trying to say, like, it's brotherhood. We have to learn to help one another. And I'm going to read it, and it's coming, you know what I mean, straight out of Christ's mouth, okay, that we should help one another, okay? We should, you know what I mean, like, we should love one another, poor, rich, poor, or otherwise. We have to learn to love one another, okay? Okay, so we can read that in the book of Matthew, chapter 25 and verse 40. Okay, and it says, and the king shall answer and say unto them, verily I say unto you, and as much as ye have done it unto one of the least of these my brethren, ye have done it unto me. So Christ is saying, you know what I mean, like, it's, you know what I mean, like, this is the whole thing. Christ is teaching. He came to show us how to keep these laws, statutes, and commandments. He came to show us how to treat one another, okay? And like, it's, you know what I mean? It's just, if we can just do what Christ subscribed for us to do, if we could just try to love one another, okay? Christ loved us so much, and he loved us. He loved the brothers and sisters so much of his family, the brothers and sisters of his nation, that he was willing to give he did give his life, okay? He didn't want to die, you know what I mean? But that's the same thing with the brothers in this school. None of us want to die, but I'm willing. I'm willing to die so that you, my brother or my sister, can live. Okay? And when I say live, yeah, I mean, you know, breathing air, but also I want us to live the life that our power intended us to live, and that is to be on top, to be in rulership on the earth. Okay? I'm willing to die so we can obtain that. Okay? I don't care if I die for my brothers and sisters so they can get to live. Because if you understand life and the way our power has designed things, I can die, but I'm coming back. I'd rather die and try to put myself in a position to come back and be in rulership. Okay? I'm willing to die for my brothers and sisters. Okay? I'm willing to die for my children, for my wife, so they can have a better life, so they can rule the earth. Okay? And that's, you know what I mean? Like, that's what I was saying earlier about us being selfish. People, Black, Hispanics, and Native Indians today, all they think about is themselves. Like, they are not willing to sacrifice driving a fancy car so their great grandchildren can be rulers. And when I say that, I mean, like, instead of coming into the school, instead of having brotherhood, instead of paying your tithes, they'd rather go to the Christian church, slave for the white man, pray to white Jesus, and have a new car, and, you know what I mean, live the lifestyle that your oppressor has set for you to live, instead of trying to obtain the lifestyle that our power, Yahweh, wants us to live. Okay? And the only way to do that is to have brotherhood, is to care about somebody other than yourself. You have to want to feed and nurture and love somebody besides yourself. You have to want to see somebody else prosper other than yourself. And that's what Christ did. Like, from the very beginning, okay, the devil tempted Christ and told him, listen, you can have a fancy car, you can have back in his day, you could have, I'll give you all the land you want, I'll give you, all the gold, the jewelry, everything, I'll make you famous, everybody love you and think you, one heck of a guy or whatever. But Christ said the devil tried to give him that in that society. And Christ said, no, I don't want to be high in this society. I want to be high in the society that the Most High God has for Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians to be on top, okay? When we're on top, that's when I'm on top. Not when I'm on top, but when we are on top as a nation, that's when I'm on top. I can't be on top by myself, okay? It's not gonna, you know what I mean? It's not gonna last. It's not gonna do me any good if my brothers and sisters are dying in the street, but I'm up somewhere high in a castle, you know what I mean? Looking down on everybody. Moses couldn't even do it. You know what I mean? Moses came down out of the White House or out of Pharaoh's, you know, whatever he was, you call it. He came out of, you know, Pharaoh's house, and he saw how his brothers was living. And Moses said, "Man, I'm not with this. I want to roll with my brothers, even if it's me being down here on the bottom instead of up there in the castle. I'm gonna be down here with my brothers. Okay, I'm gonna be down here with my brothers, and that's how I'm gonna roll. Okay, Moses was not on that. He could have had it. You know what I mean? Moses could have just stayed in Pharaoh's house. Okay, but Moses wasn't with it. Moses loved his brothers. Okay, just like Christ loved his brothers, just like Commanding General Yohana loved his brothers. That brother has sacrificed and put his life on the line since the 80s, okay? And listen, I'm willing to do the same thing, okay? That's brotherhood. To hold down, because I would have never known how the Lord wanted me to live or how I was supposed to live and how to really keep these laws, statutes, and commandments if Commanding General Yohana didn't sacrifice his life to show me. Okay? So that's the brotherhood. That's what we need to be. Okay? We all need to have that zeal that, you know what I mean, like we love our brethren. Okay? We love the sisters, Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. I don't love this society. I don't love, you know what I mean, the white man's fancy cars and his gated communities, or, you know, his whatever the heck he has. He can have it. Okay. I want to dwell with my brothers. Okay. I love my brothers. Okay. When we on top, that's when I'll be on top. Other than that, I'm gonna stay down here with my brothers. Okay. Right in the, you know, barrios and ghettos. Okay. And reservations. I'm not trying to escape my brothers, okay? Okay, let's go to John chapter 15 and verse 12. Okay, I'm just trying to show you, brothers and sisters, you know what I mean, like, and to see, you know, these y'all in this class constantly, you know what I mean, that is a heavy thing, because, you know, you have to be around your brothers and sisters. You have to keep this mindset, you know what I mean, and you fall off and stop coming to class or stop being around your brothers and sisters, and you will be doing the same crap you were doing yesterday. Okay, so stay in these classes, keep, you know, getting the spirit of the Most High, learning how to love your brothers and sisters. Okay, and that's, you know what I mean, like, before you know it, the Lord will have Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians ruling the earth again. Okay, but you got to be willing to sacrifice yourself, your selfishness, and love your brothers and sisters. Okay. Okay, so let's go to the book of John chapter 15 and verse 12. Okay. John 15 and 12. This is my commandment, that ye love one another as I have loved you. Okay, these words are coming straight out of Christ's mouth. Okay, our big brother Yahushua. Okay, this is what he's telling us. Okay, because Christ came and he was able to break down these scriptures, the Old Testament. Okay, he was able to break it down and show us how to really what the scriptures were really all about, which is brotherhood. Okay, which is us loving one another. At the end of the day, these scriptures is all about Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians loving one another. Okay, and this is a commandment that Christ is giving to brothers and sisters. He's charging us. This is what he's telling us to do. This is my commandment, that ye love one another as I have loved you. So how did Christ love us? How did he prove to us that he loved us? Because love is not an emotion or a feeling. Love is an action. Love is what you do. Okay, it's this is what's heavy about this love thing, especially with the sisters. They think love is an emotion or a feeling, that they should be happy all the time, and if they are not happy 24/7, then it's not love. And that's not the definition of love according to this Bible. Okay, love is keeping the commandments. Okay, and when I say keeping the commandments, think about that. Keeping, and you're going to continue to do something. You're keeping it. You're doing it all the time, continually. That means you're being loyal to that thing. Okay, you're being loyal to the law, statutes, and commandments. You're keeping them. You're going to constantly do them. And that's what sisters need to understand about a marriage. A marriage is not about feeling good all the time. A marriage is about being loyal. Okay, doing it all the time, no matter if you're happy or sad or whatever your emotion is at that time. You should be keeping the law when it comes to marriage. Okay, you don't always have to be happy. You're not going to always be happy. That's life. I mean, who the heck is going to name any human being on the planet that's never had a sad day in their life? Okay, that's not going to happen. That's not reality. That's the fantasy. That's the American dream. That's that dream that Martin Luther King got you chasing, and the white man got you chasing. The oppressor, okay, got you chasing. That's a dream, a fantasy. Okay, so keeping the commandments, being loyal to the law, statutes, and commandments, keeping a marriage, being loyal to your husband or your wife, okay, is keeping the commandments, okay, keeping the law. And the commandments, love is the commandments, teaching how to treat a brother or sister, okay? I'm going to love you by doing what these laws said I should do, okay? No matter how I feel or what I want to do, I know there's certain things that the law says I should do. And that's what Christ is saying. That's that love, okay, for one another that Christ is saying that we should have, okay? How did Christ show he loved us? Because it says right here, as I have loved you, okay? Christ loved you how? How did Christ love blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians? Anybody in the chat can answer that question. How did Christ love blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians? Okay? Because he wants us to love one another as he loved us. Okay? So my question is, how did Christ love us? Verse 13. Anybody can answer that question. Go ahead and put it in the chat. Greater love have no man than this. Okay? That a man lay down his life for his friends. Ye are my friends, if ye do whatsoever I command you. So not only will we be loyal to Christ and to the Most High by keeping the commandments. That's correct, sis. Give her a hand, okay? KJ Designer, that is definitely correct. Christ laid down his life for blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians to give you a chance. He didn't die so you could just keep sinning, okay? Christ died because even in his time, brothers and sisters didn't know the breakdown of these laws, statutes, and commandments. Okay, brothers were calling themselves Greeks and Romans, just like today. Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians are calling themselves African Americans, Puerto Ricans, Cubans, when that's not who you are. Okay, we are being taught that the law is done away with, that homosexuality is an alternative lifestyle, that you can smoke weed. All you got to do is say, Christ forgive me, or Lord forgive me, and Christ died so I can just continue to sin. No, that's not why Christ died. Christ died to show he loved you, to give you a chance to come into this truth and understand how to really serve God, because we were supposed to be cast out, okay? But Christ came and gave us a way back in, okay? By him dying, he is the last and ultimate sacrifice, okay? By Christ dying, now, whatever I did before I became Nashak, that's dead, okay? Long as I keep these laws, statutes, and commandments now, okay? That's what Christ died for, to give me a chance to come back and serve the Most High the way he intended for me to serve him, okay? So that's why Christ died, and that is the love the ultimate love he showed for blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, and that's the love we need to be ready to show for each other right now, today, in 2022, okay? 2022, we need to be able to love blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, and nobody else, okay? We're not required to love the so-called white man, or the Chinese man, or the East Indian, or the African, okay? Okay, so Christ died to show blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians that he loved them, that we would be able to come back, okay, into this truth and serve our God the way he intended for us to serve him, okay? Let me see, let me go to Hebrews chapter 10 and verse 26. Hebrews chapter 10 and verse 26. Hebrews chapter 10, verse 26. Okay. Hebrews 10 and 26. Is going to kind of break down Christ dying for blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. Okay. Christ showing blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians that he loved them and laying down his life. Okay. Hebrews chapter 10, verse 26. Hebrews 10 and 26. For if we sin willfully, after that we have received the knowledge of the truth, there remaineth no more sacrifice for sin. Okay? So Christ didn't come and die so we can just keep being a homosexual, keep being, a drug addict, keep having sex with women and, throwing them away. Christ didn't come so we can continue to sin, okay? Christ came so you could understand that what you were doing was sinning. And now, okay, you are going to come back and serve the Most High the way he intended for you to serve him, okay? It tells you right here, for if we sin willfully, after that we have received the knowledge of the truth, okay? Once somebody tells you, and breaks down to you that you can't smoke cigarettes and you do it again, there's no more sacrifice, okay? There's no more sacrifice. You are sinning willfully. If somebody tells you you can't sleep with whoever you want to, you have to marry somebody in your family, and you don't do that, then you're sinning willfully, okay? Christ did not die so we can just be sinners, okay? So that we can be fornicators. Christ didn't die for that. That is insane. That's crazy, okay? But Christ died so that when you do hear this truth, okay, you will be able to come back and stand before the Most High and serve him properly, okay? Love your brothers and sisters, okay? And that's, the sacrifice. That's why Christ died. That's why he was the ultimate sacrifice, okay? Not so you can keep sinning, but so when you get these breakdowns and understanding of how you're supposed to operate in this earth, then that's your way back into the Most High, okay? Because you were out. You were born thinking you were African American or Puerto Rican, you was born into sin. But Christ gave us a way to come out of that, okay? By shedding his blood and, going on the cross, okay? That's what Christ died for. That's the love that we should have for one another, okay? And that's what we do in the school. Men across the world in the Israelite School of Universal and Practical Knowledge do the same thing Christ did. We go out and we tell brothers and sisters the truth. We give them the truth of how they're supposed to be living. We risk our lives, willing to die, just so you can know that you are God's chosen people, okay? And that's what Christ did. and he charged blacks, Hispanic, Native Indian men to do the same thing, okay, until he returned, okay. So that is, why Christ died, not so, you can just continue to be a homosexual or a drug addict or a pimp or, a stripper or whatever on the damn pole. That's not what Christ sacrificed his life for, okay. Let me see. Okay, let's go to Romans chapter 6 and verse 1. Romans chapter 6 and verse 1. Okay, and this is, like going further into us not sinning, just because you think Christ died so you can sin. That's not true. Okay. Okay. Romans chapter 6 and verse 1. What shall we say then? Now, this is after you know that you can't smoke cigarettes. You know that you can't, be homosexual. You know that you can't be a drug dealer. Okay, all these things. Now that you know that, like Christ didn't die just so you can, continue to be a whoremonger or a whore or whatever. Okay, what shall we say then? Shall we continue in sin that grace may abound? Okay, that's the question. You're gonna just keep grace? You think grace is never gonna run out? There's a grace period, okay? The period of grace that you had is before you knew that you were black, that you were God's chosen people, okay? That you were an Israelite, okay? That was the grace period. When you didn't know that, you were God's chosen people, you were under grace. The Lord, even though you was out, it was hell out there, it was still grace, you know what I'm saying? But now that you know that you are God's chosen people, the grace period is over. It's time to get to work. Okay, it's time to pay the piper. Okay. Oh, shoot. Okay. It's time to pay the piper. It's time to get to work. Okay. There's no more grace. Once you find out the truth that you are God's chosen people, you can't just go back and think, oh, well, I'm going to, just keep smoking weed or whatever. No, that's not how it works. Grace is over. Now it's time to serve your power the way Christ laid it out for you, okay? What shall we say then? Shall we continue in sin that grace may abound? God forbid. Heck no. Okay, don't keep sinning. Don't think, that Christ died so you can keep sinning. That don't make sense. It just doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? Like Christ died so you could just be disgusting, so you could be a homosexual. It's crazy, okay? God forbid. How shall we that are dead in sin live any longer therein? So it's saying you're supposed to be dead in sin. Okay? All that sinning is supposed to be gone, dead, you're done. That sinning is dead. You killed that old person. You killed that old woman, that old man. You that is dead. Okay? So now how can you live any longer therein? Like, you can't keep living in sin. You're supposed to kill that old person. Okay? You come in here and get a Hebrew name, you're supposed to be somebody else. That person's supposed to be dead now. You can't keep, you know what I mean, doing the same thing you were doing. Okay? Grace does not abound. Okay? Your grace period was before you knew that you were God's chosen people. Now that you know and you don't keep these laws, statutes, and commandments, stuff's just going to get worse for you. Okay? Okay, we can drop down to verse 15. Verse 15 is asking a good question. Okay? Romans chapter 6 and verse 15. What then? Shall we sin because we are not under the law, but under grace? God forbid. Again, you know what I mean? What's the law? It says we're not under the law. We are under the law. But this law that Paul's talking about is something else. Okay, what law is he talking about? What law are we no longer under? Okay, we are under the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. So what law is Paul saying we're not under? Okay, what then? Shall we sin because we are not under the law, but under grace? God forbid. Okay, you're not under grace forever. Your grace ran out once you found out who you were. Okay, once you understand now that you are a Black, Hispanic, or Native Indian, you of the 12 tribes of Israel. Okay, now it's time to start serving the Most High. Okay, there's no more forgiveness of sin. You got to stop sinning. Get yourself together. Okay, and in some cases that it may be hard. So like if you have an addiction to drugs or cigarettes or something like that, then don't let that stop you from coming into this school. We will help you put that sin away. Okay, it's not impossible. Okay, we will help you put that sin away. Okay, but first you need brothers. You need brotherhood. You're not going to be able to do it by yourself, or you might be able to. I don't know. But if you can't, you got brothers. Okay, you got sisters. You got brotherhood here. We're gonna fight that fight with you. You ain't got to do it by yourself. But we're gonna fight to get you out of that sin. Okay. But we are definitely still under these laws, statutes, and commandments. So if anybody knows what law is Paul talking about we're not under, put it in the chat. You know what I mean? What law are we no longer under? It says, what then? Shall we sin because we are not under the law, but under grace? God forbid. Heck no. That's what God forbid means. Heck no. La. Okay? We are under these laws. They were only given to us. Okay? So what is this law that we're not under? What law are we no longer under? Nobody knows? Okay. The law that we are no longer under, 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 the law that you have to think back, like in the Old Testament. The Old Testament, the law, this is speaking about the Old Testament. Okay, when there was a law enforcer in the Old Testament, that's the law that we're no longer under. There was a law enforcer in the Old Testament that is no longer around at this time and now today. In the New Testament, that law enforcer was no longer around. And that's the law that they're saying, like, okay, the law enforcer that I'm talking about would have been the tribe of Levi, okay? The Levitical priest is the law that they enforced the law, okay, in the Old Testament, okay? The Levites enforced the law, and that's the law that is saying that we are no longer under, okay? There's no longer a Levitical priest in your neighborhood that is going to stone you to death for sleeping with your brother's wife, okay? Or going to cut off your hand for stealing something that belongs to your brother or sister, okay? That's the law that we're no longer under. And now, because we're no longer under that law, people think they could just, sin willfully and nothing's going to happen. When this scripture is telling you that's not true, okay? What then? Shall we sin because we are not under the law, but under grace? God forbid, okay? You sin against the Most High, okay, and there is a recompense. There's going to be a payment that will be made, okay? So don't think that we are not under the law. Don't think the laws are done away with. Don't think you're not supposed to love your brother. That's part of the law. Loving your brothers and your sisters, loving the nation, your own people, your own family is part of the law, okay? Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, we need to learn more love for one another, okay? We need to have that love that Yahushua had for us, willing to die for one another, okay? Yahushua didn't know me personally, but he died for my sins, okay? He died to give me a way back in to serve the Most High, okay? With that, I'm going to have to end the class, okay? I got a meeting I got to get into. So the water for everybody for being in the class, okay? And listening to me teach y'all about brotherhood, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and salute y'all out, okay? Shalom, Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai Barakathum to the brothers, and Shalom, Yahweh Shemal Alathun Bahashim Yahweh Shai to the sisters, okay? We're the Isupk, start out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. We're under commanding General Yohana, and we're not affiliated with any other Hebrew Israelite group. Okay, shalom. Okay, Chad, shalom.